real estate currency. It's my honor to present our study entitled The Impact of Local Government Land Finance Dependence on Urban Housing Crisis in China. This research employs panel data from 17 major Chinese cities over the period 2011 to 2021. Through fiscal decentralization, local authorities developed a structure of land finance relying on the sale of the use rights. While this mechanism facilitated rapid urban growth and infrastructure development, it also generated structural challenges. Excessive fiscal ransom and revenues, instability in the housing market, and the risk of speculative bubbles. Indeed, by the 2010s, the land transfer revenues account for more than half of fiscal income in many cities, despite regular intervention by the central government. Existing studies constantly emphasizes that the land finance is more than a fiscal tool. It's a structural link between government policy and housing market. 10 land transfer revenues combined with infrastructure investment significantly drive housing price increases. So demonstrated cyclical and bi-directional causal relationships among land finance, housing prices, and economic growth. Hwa identified a U-shaped effect dependent on urbanization theories. Really found that the fiscal pressure magnifies the role of finance in determining housing prices. Nonetheless, these studies and concentrated by limited city samples, restricted time horizons, and emphasis focus on failures of structural transition. Our study addresses these gaps by constructing a panel data set covering 7 major cities by 2011 to 2021. The data were drawn from multiple authoritative sources, including the National Bureau of Statistics and the China City Statistical Yearbook, the Ministry of Housing and Urban Rural Development, the Green Data Set, and Ministry of Natural Resources. We employed a fixed effect panel regression model. The dependent variable is housing prices. The primary independent variable is land finance dependence, and control variable include GDP, urbanization rate, population, and housing supply area. The data set includes 717 city-year observations. Housing prices average 9.29 yuan per square meter. The substantial intercity variation. The average urbanization rate exceeded 65%, reflecting Chinese rapid urban transition. Variable inflection factors test indicated non-vertically nearest issues. Our regression analysis yields several significant findings. A 1% percentage point increase in land finance dependence leads to a 0.31% increase in housing prices, significant at the 1% level. GDP exerts a strong and positive effect on housing prices. The urbanization rate also contributes positively. In contrast, population size shows a slight but significant negative effect. Further, we examined the heterogeneities across different city groups. The Levin test found significant disparity among first, second, and third tier cities. In high GDP cities, the impact of land finance dependence was considerable, stronger with a comparison of 0.412 compared to 0.285 in low GDP cities. Similarly, the effect of urbanization was more pronounced in high GDP cities, highlighting the interaction between economic capacity and fiscal strategies. Our annual fixed effects analysis indicates that the influence of land finance increased stably after 2014, partly due to regulatory elections by the central government. After 2016, the effect intensified further, reflecting local government's real estate policy orientation, structural economic adjustment, and the cumulative impact of external policy shock. This underscores that land finance policy shaped not only short-term fiscal outcomes but also long-term market structures and housing prices volatility. To conclude, first, the local government's reliance on land finance significantly drives housing price increases. Second, this effect is most pronounced in large economically small cities. Third, annual fixed The annual fixed effect suggested that external policy shifts are closely tied to housing market fluctuations. The policy implications are evident. Local governments must diversify their fiscal basis, reduce their dependence on the finance, and promote transparent and supply systems. Furthermore, reasonably implemented policy and tolerant fiscal arrangements are necessary for long-term housing market stability. In sum, this study provided empirical evidence that local fiscal strategies, particularly reliance on land finance, play a structural role in shaping intercity housing market imbalances and long-term viability. Our findings contribute to the understanding of urban policy and real estate market dynamics, not only in China but also in other developing economies with similar fiscal structures. Thank you very much for your kind attention.